Thank you all so very much. It's so amazing to see hundreds of patriots here in front of the State House in Augusta, Maine. My name is Eric Brakey. I'm a two-term state senator from Androscoggin County. I'm a constitutional conservative. I believe in liberty for the little guy, and I'm challenging Angus King for the U.S. Senate this November. Thank you. But I'm not here to talk about myself. I'm here to talk about our movement. 3 years ago, this month, gun owners from across all corners of Maine gathered here at the Maine State House. We gathered here in front of the Committee on Criminal Justice to demand the restoration of our constitutional right to keep and bear arms and the passage of constitutional carry. If you were here in Augusta that day, or if you called or emailed your legislators, or if you were a part of that fight for constitutional carry in any way, raise your hand, raise your flag, raise your signs, and make some noise. There are a lot of people here who helped make that happen. You know, people thank me all the time, and I appreciate it. People thank me for sponsoring constitutional carry and for leading the fight for our Second Amendment in the building behind us. But let me be clear, that wasn't something I did. That was something we did. All of us, together. Every one of us. We, the little guys, us gun owners of Maine, they told us that we had no chance, that it was impossible. The deck was stacked against us by the big guys, Michael Bloomberg, and the anti-gun special interests. They were doing the stacking, pumping huge quantities of outside money into Maine to lobby and intimidate. We weren't supposed to win that fight, but we had a vision. When they told us we needed a permit to exercise one of our basic fundamental constitutional rights, we said the Constitution is our permit. We stood together, we fought together, and we triumphed together. And Maine became the 6th constitutional carry state in America. Today, proving true the claim that as Maine goes, so goes the nation, that number has doubled to 12. Now, Michael Bloomberg and his well-funded special interest groups, with misleading names like Moms Demand Action, told us that we would become the Wild West. They told us that there would be mass carnage. They told us that blood would run through Maine streets. But I'm here today, standing here to report gladly that Maine is actually now ranked the safest state in America. With the safest state in America with the #1 lowest violent crime rate nationwide. Safe to say their predictions did not come true. We won a huge victory. And that cannot be understated. But if we thought we could rest on our laurels, then we thought wrong. Because it was only a year later that Michael Bloomberg reared his head in Maine again, with millions of dollars in hand, pushing a gun control referendum that would have criminalized law-abiding Maine gun owners and set up the infrastructure for a statewide gun registry. Again, they told us it was impossible to defeat this. $7 million flowing into Maine to rob us of our rights. Nearly 7 times more than we were able to raise to defend those rights. But here in Maine, we don't take too kindly to rich outsiders telling us how to live. So again, we stood together and we fought together. In 2016, their cut and paste anti-gun agenda was on the ballot in 4 states and passed in 3, but not in Maine. Because against all the odds, we stood together, we fought together, and we triumphed together again. But the immortal words of Thomas Jefferson prove true. The price of liberty is eternal vigilance. Michael Bloomberg and his ilk were not done in Maine, and they don't plan to be done anytime soon. Since then, with your help, we've defeated their legislative proposals for the expansion of unarmed victim zones here in our state. Unarmed victim zones where 92% of all mass shootings across the country take place. We are currently embroiled in a fight to defeat their proposal to create gun confiscation orders, which would allow the suspension of your rights and the confiscation of your firearms based on any unproven accusation without any chance to defend yourself in court. That's not what our Constitution is about. And nationally, we see our opponents mounting an attack bigger than we have ever seen before. They have grown bold and arrogant, laying their agenda bare for all to see, calling for the complete repeal of the Second Amendment and the abolishment of the individual right to keep and bear arms. We must not allow them to succeed. This is about far more than firearms. This is about the preservation of our free society. No matter what they tell us, the Second Amendment isn't about hunting. Hunting is certainly a wonderful feature of the Second Amendment, but that's not the purpose. It's about maintaining the balance of power in society between the people and our government. You tell me who in society is allowed to own firearms, and I will tell you who is in charge of that society. If we lose our right to keep and bear arms, it will not be long until we find ourselves subjects in our own lands. And the kings our founding fathers fought a revolution to overthrow will have been fully replaced by new kings in Washington, D.C. The big fight is coming, and we must be ready. Just before signing his name to the Declaration of Independence, Benjamin Franklin reportedly said, "We must indeed all hang together, or most assuredly, we shall all hang separately." We, us little guys, us gun owners of Maine, have triumphed time and again against all the odds because of our ability to stand and fight together. This November, we are charging into the heart of Washington, D.C. And if we stand and fight together, there is no force that can withstand us. I'm running to represent all of us in the United States Senate as an unapologetic defender of our Constitution and our Second Amendment. I'm running against the man Michael Bloomberg personally handpicked and financed to rule over us, Angus King. Angus King, who has not only called for banning common firearm accessories, but who has voted to surrender our Second Amendment to the United Nations through the Small Arms Treaty, which would have led to a national firearms registry. And to Michael Bloomberg and his anti-gun puppets like Angus King, we all have this to say. If they want to make this November's election a referendum on the Second Amendment, let them try. Come and take it. They will find at the ballot box that Maine people don't surrender our liberties so easily. Just as they found when we stood together and passed constitutional carry. Just as they found when we stood together and defeated Question 3. Just as they found when we have stood together against all the odds every time, against the outside money and the outside interests. If we stand together and fight together, they will find again that we'll beat them back this November. We will save our Second Amendment once again for our Constitution, for our freedoms, for liberty for the little guy. Thank you all very much. Thank you for being here today.